Did I lock the car door? A fear is an emotion that all of us have. Some experience it at a greater rate than others, whilst some view it as an opportunity to progress. Either way, fears are something that strikes stiffness and holds a chokehold on us in some way, whether we want to admit it or not. Fear has been around for some time since the beginning of mankind, and it helps for our survival. We wouldn't look towards a shark, but we'll have some fear towards it. As a child, you begin to have fears of monsters and such characters you see on movies. Sort of an artificial fear that develops because you saw a scary thing on TV. What you notice is, as you progress, your fears mature. There's no longer a monster that'll grab you if you, God forbid, happen to go toilet at 3 a.m. after you just played Five Nights at Freddy's. It's actually a fear that develops by no other than you. These fears are based off of social and mental interactions that affect your life and decision making on a daily basis. The fear isn't based off of being scared of a character or monster, but it's a fear that you have inside your mind acting as a voice that restricts your opportunity to move around mentally and even physically. These fears you often find amongst adults, and these can be, for example, that you won't perform well at work, you mess up an order, or your relationship doesn't go well. These fears are common amongst the people, but there's a difference to being concerned about something and to fear something. Concern revolves around monitoring something and thinking of a solution or outcome for the problem. Fear essentially removes the solution part and instead puts a 10 times focus on monitoring something and having a negative aspect on it. Overcoming your fears is a very challenging task. The unique thing about fears is it's different for everyone. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution, but the fear is so unique amongst people, it requires to confront the fear and tackle it. Now, saying this is easy, like all things in this world, but doing the actual thing is a very difficult task. You find we often do anything else in this world before we have to give that presentation or undergo that surgery. I remember during my dentist visits as a child, I'd often do everything to avoid going. I would do anything just for the chance to avoid it. You know, it makes you acknowledge how strong the influence fear has on our minds. I mean, think about it. We'd rather fight a young Mike Tyson than ask that girl out. The mind is a powerful thing. I'm sure you've heard of that statement, and it's true. Given the current situation, the mind will do everything in its power to not tackle that fear. And that's exactly why you need to face that fear. It's that door that possesses the next level, the key that unlocks the new treasure chest. The fear is simply an emotion that you encounter once you have an opportunity to get better. We suffer more in our imagination more than in reality. This quote by Seneca really highlights the problem in society today. This problem has been around for years and years. It's because we tend to think of the most negative outcomes for every thought that possesses a risk or is out of a comfort zone. It's a thought that limits our ability to grow. You should change your perspective on fear. It shouldn't be something to be scared of or to avoid, but to view as a newly established road on your journey that hasn't been traversed on. And it is waiting for you to commence that trip. And this hopefully will bring many prosperous adventures. Simply put it, fear is good for you if you can take advantage of it. So how do we go about facing this fear head on? I'm sure you all know the answer.
Just do it!
Honestly, just do it. Do the thing you need to do and ignore the fear. Yes, that's the answer, but we want the answer that gives meaning for us so we can understand how to just do it. So let's delve into it. I want you to hold this mentality that you will die soon. We all know this reality that will end for us, but it still isn't enough for us to delve into our fears. So let's take it a step further. Soon or whenever it happens, we'll all die. All of what we did in this world will be forgotten in the years to come. Now you're aware of this, so you should start to look at your thoughts a little differently. I'm scared of doing this new job because everyone will think of me differently, and it's a new experience. That thought wouldn't even have phased your mind had you known you would have died tomorrow. If you know when you're going to die, you will make sure to do everything you want to do in this life without a second thought. These thoughts are simply in your head. You haven't done the thing, so how do you know these thoughts are valid and correct? You don't. No one does. We simply can predict based on what's happened before, but that shouldn't be an excuse to not try. I can go on and on, but we all know the answer. We're just simply too scared to try. So I'll end off with this. Whether you try or don't, life will still go on. Sun will still rise, night will still come. So just try and see where it takes you. Thank you for watching and have a good night's sleep.